Welcome everyone to the Alex and Ava English podcast. To our episode designed to help you say anything you want in English, Ava, many beginners worry about making mistakes. How important is confidence when starting out?
Confidence is actually more important than perfect grammar. Studies show learners who try to speak, even with errors, progress faster. Think of it like learning to ride a bike. You wobble at first, but practice helps you balance.
That's a great analogy. So, would you say beginners should focus more on expressing ideas than correctness in the early stages?
Definitely. Using simple phrases is key. The goal is communication, not perfection. If you can say what you feel or need, you're already succeeding. Let's show listeners how to do that as we move through real-life scenarios.
Let's start with friendly small talk, which is the foundation of social interactions. Ava, why is small talk so common in English-speaking cultures?
Small talk is like a social handshake. It helps break the ice and create comfort. Research shows that even brief, friendly chatter can improve relationships and reduce social anxiety.
Interesting. So what are some typical small talk questions and responses that listeners should practice?
Common questions include, "How was your weekend?" or "What did you do today?" Simple answers like, "It was good," or "Not much, just relaxed." Keep things natural. Using phrases like, "Sounds great," shows you're engaged.
And listeners, as we explore new phrases, remember, it's okay to keep your answers short and sweet at first. Let's transition to expressing your own thoughts. Ava, how can beginners share opinions without complicated vocabulary?
You don't need big word short phrases like "I think so" or "maybe" are enough. For example, if someone asks about plans, saying "I'm not sure" or "It depends" communicates your feelings clearly.
That's helpful. Are there situations where these expressions are especially useful?
Yes, especially when making plans or discussing ideas. For instance, if a friend suggests coffee, you could reply, "That sounds fun." These simple responses keep the conversation positive and flowing.
So, the takeaway is short, direct phrases can express a lot, especially for new speakers. Next, let's talk about moments when you don't know what to say. Ava, what should listeners do if they feel stuck or uncertain in a conversation?
It's normal to feel that way. Simple phrases like "I don't know" or "Let me think" can buy you time. Saying "That's interesting" or "Tell me more" invites the other person to share, which keeps the conversation alive.
That's such a practical tip. Is there a risk in admitting you don't know?
Not at all. In fact, studies in communication show that honesty about uncertainty builds trust and makes conversations feel genuine. Listeners, don't be afraid to use these phrases. They're a sign of real engagement.
Let's shift to making plans, which is a big part of social life. Ava, what's the best way for beginners to suggest or agree on activities in English?
Start with open questions like, "Do you want to?" or "What do you want to do?" If you agree, say, "I'd love to," or "Let's go." These phrases are simple but effective for setting up plans.
What if someone is unsure or wants to suggest a different idea?
They can use "maybe we could" or "how about." For example, "Maybe we could get lunch." This keeps the conversation flexible and friendly, which is important for making social connections.
Now, maintaining a conversation can feel intimidating. Ava, what techniques can help beginners keep talking, even if they run out of things to say?
3 things. Ask simple questions back, show interest with expressions like "really" or "wow," and don't stress about mistakes. For example, after someone shares, say, "What about you?" to keep things moving.
That's a great point. Are pauses or filler words like acceptable in English conversations?
Absolutely. Native speakers use them all the time. Pausing to think is natural and shows you're considering your response. The key is to keep trying rather than aiming for perfection.
Let's guide listeners through mini speaking challenges. Ava, how do these activities help improve English skills, especially at the beginner level?
Speaking challenges simulate real-life situations, helping learners practice under gentle pressure. For example, answering "How was your weekend?" or responding to an invitation prepares you for actual conversations.
What's your advice if someone feels shy or struggles to answer during these exercises?
Don't worry about mistakes, focus on trying. Each attempt builds your confidence and speaking muscles. Even short answers count as progress. just like lifting light weights at the gym strengthens you over time.
Many learners hesitate to speak because they fear making mistakes. Ava, is there a scientific basis for the idea that practicing out loud helps overcome this fear?
Absolutely. Research from language acquisition studies shows that regular speaking, even with errors, rewires the brain for fluency. Each time you speak, you create stronger neural pathways for language.
That's fascinating. So, does perfection really matter in early learning stages?
Not at all. In fact, perfectionism can slow you down. The best method is to speak often, focus on communication, and treat mistakes as learning moments rather than failures.
Let's connect all of this to real life. Ava, how can these simple phrases and strategies help listeners in everyday social situations from meeting friends to shopping?
They're incredibly useful. Whether greeting a neighbor, ordering coffee, or chatting at work using "How are you?" or "That sounds great" makes you approachable. Even small talk can lead to new friendships or opportunities.
Do you have an example where a simple phrase made a big difference?
Yes, one learner I know landed a part-time job just by confidently saying, "I'd love to help" during a casual conversation. Small, positive expressions can open big doors.
As we wrap up, let's summarize the main points. Ava, what should beginners remember after this episode?
Remember, don't wait for perfection, start speaking now. Use short phrases, show interest, and keep conversations going with simple questions. Every sentence is progress, not just practice.
That's inspiring. Any final advice for those still nervous to try?
Be proud of every step, no matter how small. The more you speak, the easier it gets. And remember, everyone was a beginner once, including us.